Be awesome at facility management listeners, followers, subscribers, and people that go to the Take Two site. This is your host, Joshua Peach. That is a technological wizard today. I happen to be in the central time zone. The first time that I booked this podcast, I apparently did it for 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we just tried to do it again, and I'm an hour off. But we are here just 6 minutes past the hour, and hopefully you have gotten online with us. And joining me today is Paul Anastasia. That looks like he might be in the mugshot lineup. Doesn't look like one of the. Oh, there we go. There's the 3-ring binder. So you're putting in a day's work somewhere, Paul.
Yeah, I'm in the historic town of Topsfield, Massachusetts today, doing a little work. That's why I got no hat.
No, no
hat. Can't wear a hat to the job sites like this.
Now I know a little secret. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, we got a special one, and I actually today. What's really cool before we get to our guest, I'm actually at our two-time guest, John Stangler from Pewaukee, and one of the cool things that I get to do is I get to walk the hallowed halls of my clients, friends, and podcast guests. And I got to tell you, after Albuquerque, I didn't think I could get any more energized, but I'm still fired up and ready. And today's guest is right there with it, and we're having him on, and then we're going to come visit him next week and see his school. So, Mr. Keith Watkins from New Rochelle, welcome, my friend. And you've got a guest, Reek, for a little bit of a celebration, or a little bit of a discussion on what we're going to talk about. The timing couldn't be better. Life is all about timing. We've done it right. So, welcome, Keith, and welcome, Reek.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate the invite. Glad we could be a part of this today. Once you reached out to me, and we managed to align our schedules, which is always a difficult thing. Happy to talk about the topic. Very passionate about it, and I thought, what better than to bring in a living, breathing example of what we're going to talk about with Reek. Reek is not only a unique individual. He started in the youth program here in New Rochelle. He got some experience in buildings and grounds. He started out in the Parks and Rec side of it, taking care of grounds, maintaining restroom and pool facilities, and then circled back to the inside work known as custodial. Worked his way up through the ranks. Again, as a high school student, he stayed the path, stayed the course. He reached out, shook hands, asked the right questions. And as of yesterday, Mr. Myrique has graduated from student worker to hourly worker to part-time laborer to assistant custodian to now being appointed to the position of custodian in my largest of my 7 elementaries here in New Rochelle at about 125,000 square feet, with a staff of 7 folks that he'll be supervising. And he is officially the new custodian of our Trinity Elementary School. So congratulations to Myrique.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's we're happy to have him. He's not only a new custodian and has worked his way through and shown what it takes to be a professional leader in facilities management. He's also a new proud papa. So he's got a lot on his plate. And so if he looks tired, it's because he is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we want Myrique to give a little insight as to, his journey and maybe some insight to other folks who might be contemplating facilities management as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior in high school or whatever else. So I'll back out of the frame here and give Myrique a chance to share some of his wisdom.
Yeah, please do. And welcome and congratulations on all of the above, and most importantly, the greatest responsibility and job of the world of being a father. So congratulations. And
yeah,
they're both blessings.
Yeah,
a father of 6 during the day, and then when you go home, a father again.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
No, go dig right in. Give us kind of the Myrique story, and it's just fascinating. I ran out of paper going through all the things that you've done already.
So I had a very poor work ethic when I was young, And I felt like my mom got me into a lot of programs, which is the Youth Bureau program that she got me into, and it helped a lot for me to really dig into that and kind of have older people show me what to do because I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was at that age when I was just a student in high school. I really didn't see much of anything that I was good at. So when I started working, I kind of saw like what it takes to do it, and I knew I could do that, which is like groundskeeping, maintenance, and all that. I had some really good teachers and a lot of good people. And kind of like when I became a after I was kind of like done with the youth bureau and Parks and Recreation and all that, I then became a floater, which is a substitute cleaner, and I did that for a good long time, for 5 years, until Mr. Watkins came and gave me my opportunity as a full-time employee as a laborer, which I'm extremely thankful for, because if he did not come around, I think I would have been a floater for at least 10 years at best. That's how bad it was here. Just want to give you a background of what it was looking like here. But after that, a lot of his guidance helped me from that point on when he gave me that shot. And it helped me to become an assistant custodian for the high school, which was really good for me too. And now I'm a head custodian for Trinity Elementary School, and it's really a blessing.
So tell me, what was it like being the young guy in the group of workers with the old salts? Because I know they can be kind of tough on people.
Yeah, they're kind of tough, but you know what? At the same time, they kind of act younger than what they are. So you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you gotta trick them. Like I have to trick my 3-year-old. You know?
Yeah, very well put. Yeah.
So it's really all the same. It's because if they were mature people, then yeah, maybe I would have had a tough time. But most of them, they still have some growing up to do. So.
I hope they're not all watching this.
I hope they are.
Present company excluded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I would agree with that because I don't want to grow up, and I like to. Well, I'm the old guy, and I'm seeing more gray on my beard this week.
Yeah,
I feel like so.
Yeah.
So 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 how many years are you into the trade? I guess from when you started. Did you start when you were a freshman?
So not a freshman. Kind of like my junior, senior year. It's a little fuzzy
Okay.
in high school. A lot
Okay.
going on, but yeah, junior, senior year, I kind of started getting into the work,
Okay.
and I want to say like maybe a year or two after I then became a floater. After
Yep.
I was done with high school, after I graduated.
Well, and Keith put you on the spot by surprising us with you, which I'm glad he did because it's your first official day. But what's your favorite part of the job on your first day?
I enjoy the people that I work with at training school. I've actually been at training school for actually a really long time, and I know a lot of the teachers, and I know a lot of the workers that work there. So it felt like home to me. Like I love being there. I love working there, and I love being around those a lot of the teachers and the other trades guys that actually work there. They're all great to work with.
See, now the better answer would have been, I get to talk to you two guys today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this will go down in history as the first day of his official career that he was on was this your first
And it's on
podcast
record.
as well?
Yeah.
Is it your first podcast? Yeah, I mean it doesn't get any better than
It
that.
really is, and I'm rubbing some shoulders with some heavyweights, so you know.
Wait,
Not literally.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
literally.
Let's clarify. Let's not.
Yeah. Want to stand up, Josh?
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah.
Trust me, it's not a shot. You know,
Yeah. Well,
his reputation holds weight. So
well, Marie, congratulations and thank you for jumping on. And I'd love for you to stick around if you can, unless you got work to do in case there's other things that we can have you give us some worldly advice to. But be sure to give Keith your T-shirt size because I love the new Rochelle T-shirt. I mean, I'm hoping I get to score one when I'm there next week. But we'll give you a couple of Be Awesome shirts for
you know what?
for you. And you say your little one is 2?
She's 3. She's 3.
3?
Yes.
You said she.
She. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So
Well, we'll make sure.
Speaking of T-shirts, I just
Whoa! Look at this. It's like
Look at that.
like he's prepared.
I wanted to show you that under my shirt is my cape, known as my Be Awesome shirt.
That's right.
I know I know you've got some new ones with the @ and the FM. So again, we'll exchange shirts at the proper time.
Yes, and Paul, now you can't say that you couldn't wear your Be Awesome shirt at work because Keith wore his.
He does, yeah.
So
But he's got a cover over it, see?
Well, let's just say when this was given to me, it might have been pre-COVID. So
yeah, it was.
We've all got our damage control to get back to for sure. So
it's got some wear and it's got some miles and some wear and tear to it.
Yeah.
So this is a great way to start off because what Myrick is doing, which is it's just that's what we can do, right? We can, and there's a number of different ways that these programs can work, and where we talk to you, Keith, and you and I were just cutting it up. For those that know, and those that don't know now will know that during COVID, Keith in New Rochelle, which I'm sure we'll get into, New Rochelle was the epicenter of COVID. It's just outside of New York City. A high population tested positive, and we had no idea what it was. Now we have a little bit more of an idea. But during that initial 6-8 months, Keith and I were work wives one another. It seemed like every other day one of us was calling the other to try to do a webinar or a podcast or something to just try to get information out there. Not necessarily that it was all the best information we had at the time, but we were rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling. And then there was a period we hadn't talked, and I talked last week with Keith, and I was talking to him about the struggles of why more schools don't promote from within starting at the student grade level, meaning finding kids that have that passion, or finding kids. I mean, it's amazing that Myrick just comes out and says, hey, I didn't have a great work ethic. People just don't admit that. Even after the fact that they now have a good work ethic, that's not something that they openly admit to. But knowing that, and then finding passion, and then realizing, hey, I love the idea of working in schools, and I love being in maintenance and facilities, and then running with it and having this opportunity. He said, well, we're in like year 5 of doing this program, and we've got 37 kids that have gone through the program?
Well, we started out with 50 each year for the first 2 years, and then the last couple of years has been between 30 and 40. We have less. And again, why we're here talking, we have less of our youth interested in working in general, and then you throw in the facilities management piece of it. I don't know if it's a scary topic, or they just feel that it was a learning curve for me too. I came from Phoenix, north of Syracuse. I had the 80-acre farm, as you know, Josh, and I worked in 5 school districts in the Syracuse, New York area. My first 27 years of my career, I've been down here for 5. I've got 4 left to go. Coming down here and assuming that everyone mowed their lawn as a young child, that's not the case down here. It's very, very city. We're the first small city outside of New York City. To understand what kids did to grow up here is different than what I did on an 80-acre farm and my youth growing up in north of Syracuse on a river. We're seeing we actually had to turn some kids away this year, which was sad, but we have a great relationship with our youth bureau, and what they do is we post the job, they initiate the interview process. There's a scale of points and questions that are asked and answered and tabulated. There's a certain family need aspect of it, grades in school. There's a lot of things that go into it, and they send me a list of their approved candidates that I lead the orientation in, which is a joy and an honor. I mean, I have fun with it. I really I tee these kids up when they first show up for orientation. I start out with some icebreakers, and they're just trying to figure me out. I keep them really on the edge of their seats, and I always tee it up as who I am. I give them a little bit about my background, and I tell them the first directive they have right now is to turn off all cell phone devices and remove any earpieces, any headphones, because I'm not going to fight for your attention. And if I have to fight for your attention at orientation, this is probably not a good job for you. So
that must put them into shock when you tell them shut off your phones and take out your earpieces.
The looks I get, like, what did I just decide to do? But honestly, then I tee it up and we do orientation, and I always add this at the end. I always say, listen, if you show up every day and you don't become a pain in my side, and I don't hear your name in a negative way, and my staff tells me that you're welcome to come back next year, You can take my business card. It has my personal cell phone on it. I will lay it out there for you right now that I will sign and draft a letter in your honor to be a reference for your first job, and hopefully that job is for here. So, I throw that out there, and they look at you like, is this guy for real? I just met this guy. What is it? And I just throw it out there. If you're willing to put in the time and the effort related to facilities, I'll have your back until I don't. And I think a lot of kids, that's not a lot of, they don't get to hear that a lot because they might not have, we all lift our heads off different pillows and we all come to work. We don't know about the home life. And if I can ensure to these kids that they can trust me if they want to, unless they burn that bridge, I got their back along the whole way. I'd be happy to put my name on any piece of paper as long as they show that they've got skin in the game as well. So, we did have to turn a few kids away. I actually started something different this year. I started like an extra pool. So if kids went away on vacation with families, and I tell them, if you're not going to go, let me know. I'll call your parents and they can pay for me to go. But, if a kid takes off a week or two, I want to have that reserve pool. I want kids who may just were on the outside line of making it. I want to give them an opportunity as well. So we've actually, even though we were limited to 30, we had like 38 get pushed through, and they're going to get a facilities related experience this summer. So,
what's interesting is, so I'm just outside of Milwaukee, and I just did a search, and Uncle Google knows where I am because I'm not familiar with a youth borough. So while you were talking, I wanted to educate myself. Mm-hmm. And what's amazing is the top youth borough, number one search result is New Rochelle Youth Borough in all of Google.
I'm going to throw it out there. Kelly Johnson and Sammy Gomez, those are my guys that I work with here.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about two guys that got their heads on straight, and they are all about our youth. I can't speak highly enough about them, and I was honored to that they were open to me 5 years ago when I walked downstairs because we share the same building, and I said, hey, this is what I've done in previous districts. What do you think? And they were just like, oh my God, where did you come from? And so we've had a great relationship. I cherish those two guys, and they're a big part of our success here in New Rochelle.
So, Paul, are there youth boroughs in Massachusetts?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because I see a lot of New York. I see Orange County, Florida. It looks like most, or maybe it's Orange. Maybe it's Orange. There's an Orange, New York too, right?
Yeah, Orange. Yep. Yeah, it's across the Tappan Zee.
Orange County Youth. Oh, Orange County Youth Borough is in New York. So I'm thinking that this is a New York thing. So, explain to me a little bit more about this youth borough. Is it a school run? Is it a municipal run?
It's city run.
Okay.
We partner with them on almost everything. Like they have their Parks and Rec division, and then youth. So downstairs. So I don't think you've been to City Hall here. Maybe we'll get a chance next week. Show you my office. This is the old high school that we gave this building for $1 to the city. They operate out of the first two floors. They're in the basement and first. We're in second and third. They have Parks and Rec. They have Youth Bureau. They have Public Works. They have everything. If you need a permit, if you need a marriage license, if you need, that's all downstairs.
Okay.
So we inhabit the same building, but they are connected. Like right now, this is the last week we're wrapping up a summer-long youth Parks and Rec program, and they use our facilities from 8:30 a.m. to like 1:30 p.m. every day. It's a great program for kids. It's very well attended. Hundreds and hundreds of kids attend this program, and it's something they put on, and it's a great resource for families. If you got a mom and dad working, or whatever your situation is, it allows them some freedom to get their kids some exercise, get them to interact with their friends from school, and also allows them to buy them some time while they go to work every day and support their family.
Sounds like a pretty good program.
That's great, and I think the big advantage here, and I'm going to talk directly to my REIT right now, is that you have done the work, and now you're a head custodian, and at a young age. When I came in to be the custodial supervisor, when I started my career 30 years ago, I had a crew of 25 people, and I was younger than 23 of them. And then they would challenge me, and you're going to get challenged, and I'm sure you'll be up to that challenge. But I would hear them saying under their breath, "What does he know? He's never done this job." And they were right. I never did. You got such an advantage that you came in and learn the job, and now you can supervise because you've done it. I had to go out and learn it while I was supervising. I worked with the guys. I took courses when I had to. When I was in Newton later on in my career, I worked a third shift, which I don't know how anyone can ever work a third shift. Your whole world is upside down.
Yeah.
But I worked the third shift with my third shift crew at Newton North High School, just to see what they did and to see how they did it. And so I think you have such an advantage. I was going to say you're so lucky, and it really bothers me when people say that you're lucky, because you earned it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't luck. You didn't hit the lottery.
Yeah.
You earned your way to where you are. So a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, you're so lucky about this. You're so lucky." Luck has little to do with it. Sometimes it works, but you earned your way to where you are. And I think you'll be up for those challenges, but you've done the work. So do it with confidence, man.
Well, he's lucky because he has his youth. He's on this call with three old dogs here. I mean, he's got his youth. So there's some luck to that. But I think that to go with that, I think Myrique's in the driver's seat, because as I talk all the time, for us, if you're over the age of 40 and you don't think that any 20-year-old is smarter than you, then you've been living under a rock, because anyone in their early 20s was born with a smartphone in their hand, and so they have the ability to digest content. And I think if Myrique were to come off the streets to start as a custodial supervisor, he wouldn't have experience, which wouldn't get him that street credit that he needs to have to lead. And I think because he's gotten some of the bumps and bruises out of the way, and he's put in his time, and he's got his youth, and he's got his intelligence, now he's going to have that earned street credit and that thing called experience. That's where that all comes down to. I think, Keith, you'll agree with me, and I want to get into a little bit of your story, Keith, and a little bit more about New Rochelle, because I think, listening to you and listening to your passion and your commitment to helping young men and women like Myrique in this opportunity, it has to be because of how you started, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb and making assumptions, but I think I know you well enough that I can throw a couple out there.
Anything, that. So just real quick, I started right out of high school. I had a wrestling scholarship that I didn't take. My father was upset, but I just I didn't feel it anymore. I wanted to see the world, so I went to California for 5 months, and I missed my mom, so I came right back. No shame in that. And so I started. My father was a head custodian for 28 years before he died too early. Bless his soul. He gave me my first chance, like I did Myrique. He said, "Listen, you can do construction by day, you can do landscaping, you can do whatever the heck you think you need to do, but from 2 to 10:30, I'd like you to take this job in this middle school." And I said, "Why would I want to clean toilets, Dad?" He said, "Well, a solid wage, a pension, and health benefits." And I said, at 18, I said, I really don't understand what those things are entirely. I know they all sound good, and if you're telling me they got to be good because you're my dad, you're my best friend, I trust you. So I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot." So I started in 1989 as a custodial helper. It actually said in my job description I couldn't lift more than 25 pounds. But again, my dad, being the reassuring and supporting father that he was, said, "If you decide to take that route, I'll make sure you have plenty of toothbrushes to clean all the bathrooms all summer." So I quickly learned to lift more than 25 pounds. So I did construction by day. I built the Destiny Mall with Hilton Steel. I built the whole Kaufman's wing, which is now Macy's. So if you go into Destiny USA in Syracuse, be careful in the Macy's wing. But I did construction by day, and I showed up every day from 2 to 10:30 at Liverpool Central Schools and did my custodial helper gig. Did that for 7 years. Someone said, "Hey, you should take an exam to be a custodian. You definitely have the talent, you have the leadership, you have the." So I did. I got 100, and North Syracuse Central Schools called. First on the list. I went there as a custodian. I worked there for 4 years, and Paul, to your point, 2 of those years were third shift, and it was crazy. You're not meant to be awake during the dark and be asleep during the light. It messes with your whole system. But I did it, and at age 25, I was given my first building with 1,300 kids and Roxborough Road Middle School. I remember it like it was yesterday. Unfortunately, that's when my dad then passed. I wish he was alive because I could be his boss. And then I went on to Skinny Atlas, Marcel, all promotions, all custodial helper to custodian, custodian to custodial supervisor to assistant superintendent of the buildings and grounds. Now there's an old title, right? Then to superintendent of the buildings and grounds. And then in New York State, when I was president of the New York State School Facilities Association, we lobbied with the state and civil service, and we got 108 titles crunched into DOF 1, 2, and 3, Director of Facilities 1, 2, and 3, and 3 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. It depends. That doesn't really mean size of your school. It really means size of your crew. Are you on the health and safety committee? How much are you involved with your budgeting? So here at New Rochelle, I'm a Director of Facilities 3. I oversee a department of 107. We have 1.6 million square feet. It's quite an operation. We have a director of facilities, we have 2 assistant directors of facilities, and we have a nighttime or district-wide custodial supervisor. Again, been here 5 years. I'm glad I made the move from upstate to downstate. It just, personally, it helped with my kids being stronger, more intellectual kids who are now 18, 19, and 21. They're all doing great things. So, that's it. I'll add that I was a school board member for 5 years in Phoenix, New York. It added to my experience understanding the school board side. I'm also the past president of the National School Plant Management Association, was plant manager of the year in 2020. If that rings a bell, might have been the COVID year. I was their COVID president. Proud to say I lived, but what we've done here in New Rochelle with the support of others. I mean, one crazy thing here in New Rochelle is May 8th was my 5-year anniversary. One of the other director of facilities, Mr. Carl Thurnow, who was the supervisor for the director of facilities planning at SED for 22 years, he came here, and that's how I got here. He's retiring on August 26th, so less than about a month. When he leaves, I will be the senior most tenured administrator in this building.
Wow.
So the turnover in superintendents, business officials, we've got a rock solid team now, in my opinion. We've got to meld a little bit as far as understanding what each other needs to be successful. We're off to a great start. Jonathan Raymond, he's our new superintendent. Corey Reynolds, Dr. Corey Reynolds is our HR director. We have quite a team, and we just need a little more time to meld. But great things ahead, and I hope the team stays here longer than in the past, so we can actually get some great things done together. But as far as New Rochelle, our air purification system, what we did to ensure the community, the teachers, and the students that this is the safest place they can be, and this is what we've done, and educating everybody and having first there was weekly COVID calls with community members, our district doctor. We collaborated, we brought everyone to the table, answered everyone's questions, but we were smart enough that if we didn't have the answer, we would easily and truthfully and just say, I don't have that answer. Let us reach out to our resource and we'll get right back to you. You don't ever want to give what you think in situations like COVID. You want to be factual, and you want to stay to best practices. And I feel we did what other districts had a hard time doing out of the gate. But I think it was like drinking from a fire hose. I don't think we really had a choice, or we drowned. So we adapted, we came together, and we were very successful.
Yeah, and we talked to John Dufay from Albuquerque and Dr. Blakey and Paul when we were talking about the projects and the things that they were doing, and because they had money, and John and Dr. Blakey both said, a lot of the stuff we had done before COVID, and I think that was one of the reasons why I saw myself looking in with you. I mean, when everybody was scrambling for electrostatic sprayers and they were paying 2 and 3x, you had one in every hand of your custodians already for a year or two, right?
Yeah, we had purchased 92 of them and had a pretty robust cleaning and disinfecting program in place. I got here in May of 17. I think beginning of 2018, I had already purchased over 100 Protexis handheld applicators and some portable larger units, and we were already trained and effectively using electrostatic technology.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it was pretty impressive.
Tell me about your use of the ultraviolet light. You spoke of that earlier.
Not ultraviolet. No, we looked at that. I actually did 3 or 4 demos. So what we have a product by Atmosair. It's dielectric barrier discharge bipolar ionization.
Oh, okay.
It's a mouthful. I can barely even spell it myself. But I tell you what we did, and I know this would be true for others. And this is not a paid commercial because Josh knows me. I'm kind of a no nonsense kind of guy. I'm too old and been doing this too long to care. So we did a demo at one of my elementaries with this technology. So we did air sampling before it was turned on, while it was turned on, and then we turned it back off. And if you want to see graphs that were high, drop down low, and then go back high for all of the things for indoor air quality related, humidity, formaldehyde, ozone, carbon, all those things dropped off completely or were so low that they were under OSHA standards, ASHRAE standards. Right now, I believe we're the only school district in the country with this fully implemented. We have a few missing pieces. We'll have that installed by September when school starts, but we're about 98% fully up running. This is all third-party verified. So if you're not, if I can sell you a widget and tell you this is the best thing since sliced bread, well, you've only got me to believe, which, I'm a pretty believable guy. But if you really want the truth, you should have a third party of interest and doing all that data and all that research and all that testing like we did. So we have now sent that to the Department of Health, and we've sent that to the New York State Education Department, and we're helping them change their view on this technology because it's all not created equal. So again, do your homework. I'm not telling you to go with a specific. This is great technology as long as you get the right technology. We're having amazing results with this technology.
So what does it do?
Well, it produces ions. No, a simple, and again, Atmosphere Pandemic Solutions is my vendor. If you look up Pandemic Solutions, you go just look at the 35-second video. It explains everything in a nutshell. There's needlepoint, there's bipolar, there's all different variations of this. This is the dielectric barrier discharge. It basically put ions into the air. They either eradicate the bad things or they coagulate them enough to where they drop them out of the air and they basically make them non-effective. So your normal cleaning practices, so you're almost cleaning for aesthetics at that point, but you're cleaning those things that they're not able to survive. They make them inactive. You can't grow that here in this. I have one in my office. You can't see it. It's up on the wall.
Yeah. So I was going to say, is it a separate box that it's
three different applications for us here. So we have the unit that goes into ductwork. So if you have ductwork, so our large air handlers, we put these at the plenum, and they then they control all of the environment through the ductwork that those areas service, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one application. Then you have the univent, like I have in my office. It's through the wall. You're bringing in fresh air from outside. There's a different unit that goes in each univent. And then the spaces that just have windows get a wall-mounted unit to do the same thing. Very easy. We did our own bid because I was so inundated with the next best thing, the next magic pill. So we did our own bid to make sure that only those folks with this technology or an equal could bid. We were able to get this technology. Again, the bid's good for 3 years, but we have installed this district-wide, and we continue to follow up with third-party testing, and our results aren't changing. They're only getting better.
That's great. What about the maintenance and upkeep of those systems? What does it take?
So every system has that piece of it, right, Paul? So I wanted something that would be easy that we could do in-house, and I actually got it. So with this technology, I had the vendor who provided the technology. They're going to take care of it for the first round. So every 2 years, there's a sealed bulb in the units that just has to be changed. So a lot of the other technology, these things are open to the environment. They do get encrusted. They do get a surface layer to them, which starts to lower their effectiveness. And that was one of the things with this technology. It's probably a minute and a half per unit to do the maintenance every other year. So very simple process. Again, keep it simple, stupid, right? This is so simple to do, and it was much easier to get where we are than I actually thought it was. But I was willing to jump some hurdles and hoops to get there, and I'm so glad we did. And we're in a very good position for our students, providing that environment needed in today's education.
It's actually easier than maintaining a univent.
Correct. Well, then again, we here we're one of the only districts in the country that have the biofilter. It's a MERV 15 filter that does not have the static drop that most more than 8 MERV or 9 MERV has. Again, it's not cheap, but we have I think Josh was picking on me. Someone was picking on me. It's probably Josh, but I got interviewed by the news and I said, you have to take like a Swiss cheese approach. You have multiple holes, but if you layer that Swiss cheese, by the time you get to the third, fourth, fifth layer, none of the holes are lining up anymore. So what we've done here is we've implemented 3 or 4 really effective measures to attack this at multiple angles. It's not just one and done. And I can assure you, this is going to be here forever. I was contemplating doing private consulting after this year. I was going to leave. Honestly, when COVID hit, it kind of revitalized me as a human being. It gave me a different level of passion again for something I had already been doing for 30 plus years. So, not everything bad came out of COVID, and it's here to stay. And we're going to be dealing with this for a long time in different levels, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Paul, the message that I'm loving to hear in the last couple of weeks anyway, and I think you've probably heard it more, but it's just resonating, is things like every classroom, every student.
Right.
These initiatives that are, costly, that are, definitely something that you have to do a ton of homework on. The people are the leaders are not saying, let's do it here, let's do it in some selective areas, or let's do it in the high school. It's, hey, every kid, if we're going to do this and it could prove potentially beneficial to the environment for one student, we're going to make sure that we do this for all students. And I just love to hear that. I mean, that's whatever the product is. The assumption is that you're making the best decision with the information that you have to improve the environment, and the reality of it that it's for every student that's just resonating with me, and I'm loving to hear it.
And we know that our biggest hurdle in our industry is getting buy-in or support from the top.
Yep.
And it sounds like you got it.
Yeah, and listen, when I say do your homework, I mean that holistically. There's 2 sayings that I say a lot, and one is, never underestimate the power of a good crisis, and it's what you learn after you know it all that's most important. And I can assure you, when we prioritize out of this department, people are always commenting in this district. They can't believe the amount of workflow and production coming out of the facilities department. And that makes me feel good that they're trying to model what they're doing by what we're doing. It's an honor, and I appreciate that. We overlap with security and IT and all those things. But Josh had a great point. When we prioritize our budget and we look to implement things that we know we're going to need, let's take the ELISA law that just came into effect in New York, right? So we have to have an incident response panel. So every school now has a button that sends off, activates blue lights on the exterior of our buildings, so that if you're outside, to go somewhere else because we have an issue going on in the building. If you're trying to get in, if you're a bus driver or you're a parent dropping off your student and you see those blue lights flashing, just keep going. Don't come in. We have an incident that we're dealing with, whether it be active shooter, inside, outside, an aggressive student, whatever it may be. But the ELISA law just came into effect. So, one of the things Josh said that just resonated with me is, we use day automation and we're getting ready to implement these things. That's an implementation that is going to affect all of our school buildings. It's beneficial to all of our students, all of our staff, and the community. So those are things that you have to prioritize as a director of facilities, and you need to effectively communicate to either your business official or your superintendent, whoever it is you're reporting to. And those are the conversations, those are hard conversations that you might not get something out that was high on the priority list, but something like for New York with the ELISA law, that's something that we are definitely doing. And you have to consider that in the priorities known as what are you going to provide as services to your students, staff, and community.
Yeah, and then you need buy-in from the community as well. Mm-hmm. It goes all the way out to the end users.
Yeah, we just wrapped up $120 million worth of capital work over the last 4.5 years. We're starting to plan our next bond that we hopefully will have ready for voter approval next year, and it's going to be most likely be another over $100 million based on our building condition survey results. And it's you should always have the project you're closing out, the project you're doing, and the project you're planning. That's right. Why New York State has the 5-year building condition survey. It's set up for those reasons, folks. And it's not a shocker that you should be doing a project every 5 years and you're working on 3 at one time.
Yep. Yeah, this is good stuff, and we got completely off topic of talking about our youth, but that's okay. We're going to get back to it.
We haven't even talked about chickens yet, Josh. So
Yeah, no, or peacocks.
Yeah,
or peacocks.
Yeah.
That was one of Keith and I's first breaking of bread conversations wasn't about school cleanliness, facilities, or safety. It was about how he had peacocks and chickens, and I only had chickens, and I was asking him how to negotiate with Amy, my fiance, into getting a peacock because he had pretty peacocks, but they were very loud and boisterous, and that was the non-win for me.
Yeah.
But one thing that I wanted to touch on, because we're so far off, which is great, and I love doing this because it just takes this conversation, which is, we're talking about the things that work. And Paul last week with Albuquerque used the word hocus pocus. That there was a lot of hocus pocus out there when it comes to COVID. We lost Paul. Where did he go? Paul left.
Hopefully, it wasn't something I said.
So yeah, I say Paul. I say
You
Paul
guys all froze.
I say Paul and hocus pocus, and he disappears.
You guys froze. I
Yeah.
it did it again.
You're freezing.
No,
Paul.
we can hear you. Don't go swearing. We can hear you. He's got bad internet. But no, what I wanted to ask you is, during COVID, I mean, during your career anyway, but during COVID specifically, your interaction with vendors that were trying to pursue you for product, services, solutions, what did that look like? How much more homework did you have to do? How inundated were you with phone calls, emails, all that fun stuff?
Well, like I said before, it kind of reinvigorated me, and the career became new again. It was something that none of us had a COVID playbook on our shelf to refer to. I had people reaching out endlessly with the latest and greatest, and I tried to just kind of keep the factual, scientific mindset so that we could eliminate the duds and move on to the studs, so to say. And the good thing about being a part of a professional association like School Facilities Association, NSPMA, the New Jersey Superintendent of Buildings and Grounds, is we had weekly COVID calls. And what are you doing? And what are you doing? And what are you doing? The power of networking through these associations it never ceases to amaze me. The amount of professionals we have in our industry that even I can call and I can ask their opinion just to make sure I'm not missing something. That's a resource that I never take for granted. But keeping it scientific, and I would just say to folks, are you on the EPA list? Do you have a contract or bid that I can buy your products? So those are always things that you should be asking of your vendors. And I hate the word vendor. I like the word business partner. I'm not only business partner related with these folks, outside the office, you can actually have relationships with these folks, and some of these folks actually become friends, right, Josh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Yeah.
When I started in the industry 25 years ago, we had a mission statement, which is prospects become customers, customers become clients, clients become friends, friends become family, and that was the natural progression, which was a client for life mindset. We just didn't say it then; we said it in 2004, and it's something you do as a person. That's why I give my personal home phone number instead of an office line my entire career. But yeah, on that topic, because Paul's big in MFAA, which is the equivalent of your New York chapter, state chapter organization. And I always tell people you can't go at this stuff alone. Does New York have, if someone's not, well, I think just about every school district is in the state is part of that association. Active membership is the question. Are people actually active? Are there other groups or avenues that schools could look to as far as networking, or is the NYS? Is it NYSFA? I get the acronym wrong, but FFA.
Yeah, it's New York State School Facilities Association.
Yep.
.com.
Yep.
NYSSFA.com. Check it out.
Yep.
We have professional accreditations. That's why if you see on my name it says CDF. I'm one of 44 certified directors of facilities active in New York State. There's a small group of us. We pitch it every year. It's equal to a 2-year degree. We have our affiliate development certification program for folks like Myrique, who are custodial supervisors, up and comers. And then when they get in the position of director of facilities, they can convert that over to a registered director of facilities or a certified director of facilities. But I jump on some of the Long Island MFA branches. We jump on their calls. I don't even know how I got invited, but that's all business partners getting together to collaborate on business ideas and what products are working. So there are other avenues, but if you want school district related, it's New York State School Facilities Association, National School Plant Management Association, and whatever state you're in. Most states have an affiliation of a school facilities association or a superintendent's of buildings and grounds.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't find it, reach out to me. I'd be glad to connect you with the next best thing that I'm aware of. There's an avenue for everybody, and there's a way to get connected, and we'll find it together. I have no problem with that.
And people will find that it's at the other end, they'll pick up the phone for us.
Yep.
When you say, I'm calling from such and such a district, I'm the facilities director, I want to talk to Joe, the facilities director.
Yeah.
I mean, so many times those people get inundated with just junk mail or junk calls, and there's always that line of defense, that great administrative assistant that filters all that out. But I noticed that as soon as I say I'm facilities director and I want to talk to, Sandra, I called Sandra Cashin the other day, and I was trying to get through her filter of her administrative assistant, and she's pretty good. And I finally identified myself and told her who I was, and she said, "Oh, she's on the phone. She'll call you right back."
Yeah.
Well, when you were the gatekeeper, you know all the tricks, and Sandy
Right.
knows all the tricks. I mean, we talked about Sandy a couple times. She is as good as they get when it comes to that. That's why I worked real hard to get her cell phone number. That way I get to bypass it all. So back to the growing from the school, the youth borough, Myrique. What's next for Myrique? So, I mean, first of all, you want to career path him properly, because it's okay whatever you want to do and however you want to do it. But let's say, and I don't know the conversations that have been had, but let's say Myrique comes into your office at some point and says, "Hey, I want your job. I want your seat someday. How do I get there? Where do I go? And what do I do?"
There it is. It's all yours. You got that. All you have to do is ask.
Your first day, Myrique. You're welcome. We'll be going out to dinner next week when I see you. But no, but like, are there professional development programs for Myrique? I'm here in Wisconsin, so I'm asking about New York in particular. I know MFAA's got something similar, but I'm here in Milwaukee. I've got 461 custodians and facility operations professionals that are all going to convene here tomorrow from 64 school districts and get together and learn and get some certification courses. But for our New York schools, what's out there and what can they do?
So
I'm going to write everything you say down.
Don't worry, I'm recording this.
That's right. Yeah, you can watch the recording over and over.
Yeah.
So your question was specifically for New York schools or anybody, Josh?
Well, I mean, if you want to go global, that's fine with me. I was just biting off a little bit, which is New York, because I know that every state's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about new to the industry, custodial supervisors.
Yeah.
So
in New York, we have, like we've talked about it, we've said it 100 times now, the New York State School Facilities Association. Passionate 22-year member, past president, accreditation chair, corporate liaison chair right now. We're starting to see a pretty good influx of young blood taking over things. I'll be handing off the accreditation committee and a few other things in the next year and a half to two, because the last 2 years of my career, I'm not going to be spending doing that. I'm going to support it and always be available. One of the great things, not to get off topic again here, that this association does, and I've done more than 50% of them, is we do facility assessments. You can go on that website and you can request a facility assessment. You can answer a questionnaire, square footage, how you're built up, what do you have for staffing, what are you looking to obtain, what are your goals, and we go in as a professional service from SFA, and we do this free of charge. Well, our time is free. We don't get paid. There is a fee for hotels and travel, but we go in and we assess what you're currently doing, and we wrap up and do a full-blown report from soup to nuts on best practices, industry standards, and how we think you can improve your current protocols. We don't bash anybody. We don't say you're doing a terrible job. We just offer areas and advice in areas where we think you can tighten up or possibly do. And we have a lot of similarities with staffing, better use of staffing, standardization of cleaning chemicals, standardization of what you're doing across the board. But that's another service at SFA. I'm not aware of any other association that does that. And we would typically do 4 a year. We've already done 4, and we have 3 in the queue waiting for us to get to them. And by the way, that's how I first got a taste of New Rochelle. I came on the facility assessment team, did the assessment. We did a board presentation, and after that, I was asked to please stay, and then I was kind of asked to stay and stay permanently. So for New York, I would say SFA with over 700 school districts, we have about 800 members almost. So not every school district is a member because there are multiple members from certain school districts. Like we had 4 here, now we're down to 2 with a lot of the moving going on. But we are always doing a membership drive. We have new members every week in our weekly e-blast called Wednesday Wake Up. Outside of New York, you've heard me say it, National School Plant Management Association. They're really getting off the ground, so to say, with what they've been doing lately. They've been kind of low key, a little bit smaller. We're expanding immensely with our avenue. So Wisconsin, I'd have to look, but I think they may be one of the 19 current states known as a member. So there's another avenue you can go. And again, outside of the state associations, you've got, like ISSA. We've got a great relationship partnership with them. They have online trainings. Hilliard, New York. All of my staff had to create an account and go to Hilliard University online. I would, during COVID, when people were assigned to home for almost 2.5 months, they were home online taking tests and getting professional development from the Hilliard Online University. So,
did JP tell us about that, Paul?
Yeah, I know about the Hilliard University. Yeah.
Did he tell us? Did he talk to us about it when he was on the podcast?
No, not on the podcast. I've heard it from. Well, I've heard it more from Paul Haggerty. He was my sales rep.
Put him in timeout because that sounds like something pretty cool.
Yeah, and again, they're not the only ones, but because we do their Synergenics, they have a program. If you're one of their customers, they come in, they measure all of your facilities, and I know you're going to find this hard to believe, Josh, but people sometimes don't want to hear the philosophies or laws by Keith Watkins. They need further justification because what do I know? So Hilliard has a great program, and they can help you with your staffing and tasking loads. It's a factual based, expectation driven. This is what we want to see. Well, this is what it's going to take. It can help directors of facilities advocate for staffing, budgets. It's just one of a few, but that's the best one that I'm aware of and have used it personally. And it's an amazing program. So.
Yeah, no, we're fans of Hilliard. We had JP Mayo.
Yep, I know JP personally.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Right.
He had just come off surgery. I think he was 5 days out of surgery, and we had him in his garage on one of the early episodes. So I just want to bust his chops about something that he didn't go over with us. That sounds like it's really cool. So no, this is some great resources. And just for clarification, when you say that you go out to do assessments of the school, you're not doing the actual physical assessment of the buildings and the assets. You're doing an operations assessment on staffing, what they could be doing better, how they do their team cleaning or whatever their processes are. You're giving them kind of a report on suggestions of how to improve that stuff.
Correct. But if we see, like the last district we did, we noticed some moisture issues coming through a wall, which was causing extra preventative maintenance and interior cleaning that the custodians had shared with us as an obstacle. So yeah, we will point out the direct facility building needs, but you're spot on. We go in and say, all right, here's your square footage, here's your fixture count, this is your current staffing, this is your full-time, this is your part-time, standardization of cleaning chemicals that you should be able to plug and play all your staff. Doesn't matter what building they go to, you should be doing the same thing in every location. I shouldn't need to be retrained on new products and procedures at every district and every building I go to. So we talk about, the average is 20,000 square feet per custodian. It's 95,000 square feet for a maintenance technician. It's 35 acres to 40 acres for one groundskeeper. We look at industry standards and we just kind of formalize maybe a better program based on industry standards and best practices that they could use to make their department and operation more efficient.
And you do that as an organization?
We do that as an association, correct.
Yeah, he does it through the MFAA equivalent for New York.
Correct. Right? Yeah. Like I said, on that website for SFA, there's a facility assessment tab, You click it, and it brings open the thing you fill out, and it gets sent to us that you're requesting some more information and would like a facility assessment. Pretty unique, honestly.
And that's an income source for the organization that you charge the community, and the community, you bring that into the.
I'm so passionate about it, Paul. Some of my districts know who I was, and during some of my presidencies, they probably wished I was in my seat or in my office more than I was, but I got the support. I've taken my own personal days and a few vacation days to accomplish these assessments, because that's how passionate I am on them.
Wow, that's great.
And not the fact that I have a hard time using all the time they give me as well. So.
No, this is good stuff, Mike. I've got 3 pages of notes, so I can share with you all the stuff I got too. But I see you getting this stuff down pretty good.
I got one note. I want to go back to Mike. I got a note that goes way back to something that Josh said. Mike, he said that there's a whole bunch of 20-year-olds that are smarter than you. Was that the comment?
Something like smarter than me. Almost every 20-year-old smart. My 4-year-old is smarter than me.
Now I'm shifting gears. I took off my custodial hat and I'm talking parent. Well, you're going to find out when that little girl gets to be 12 or 13 years old how much smarter she is than you, because she'll tell you. All right, so you got that coming too.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. In my case, it's a 4-year-old.
Yeah, right. Your 4-year-old does it all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I got 3 boys, 18, 19, and 21. 21's at NC State, finishing his master's, graduated a year early, saved me a ton of money. My middle son's a lineman, electrician. He's working for a union power company out of Concord, North Carolina. And my baby's home from his D1 wrestling scholarship. He's working construction for the summer and has recently said he might want to change his major to project management or construction management after doing what he's doing this summer, working in Westchester County. Who knows? But I got to say it's the reverse for me. How Dad knew nothing when they were 13, 14, 15, 16. All of a sudden, wow, Dad's really connected. Dad has really provided well for the family. Dad's going to have a nice retirement. Dad's pretty smart. And then he also says, my wife, they always say to my wife how Dad married up and Mom settled. So I got that too. Josh talked about chickens and peacocks. The part of that conversation you didn't say was, the reason why I purchased an 80-acre farm and my wife left her career as an accounts payable clerk for Dairy Lee to stay home to raise our kids. We wanted 5 kids. We had 3. She's a cancer survivor. And the reason why we had that farm is we were self-sustaining. We only ate and raised, and we had chickens, pigs, cows, goats, sheep. I brought everything to the farm that produced food. She brought everything that became pets. But it was a lifestyle and a raising of my kids.
That's great.
I'll never regret. And we're blessed. I'm blessed. I'm happy to share whatever I can do to with folks like Mike. And Mike's just one example. We have a gentleman who's ready to retire this year. He's been here 38 years. He also started in a youth program. It's not quite to the level it is now, but he started as a high school worker. He's an assistant custodian. He's filled in for different roles. He's getting ready to retire. He's a Marine veteran. He's just an amazing individual. He's off today, so I couldn't get him, but I wanted to bring both of them, but I'm glad I didn't, because there's no way with the size of the other. We wouldn't have fit in the screen here. I would have had to get my head out of the way.
Yeah. When I was in Newton, I had 82-year-old Ernie.
Oh, nice.
I remember him.
Yeah, he actually lied on his application to get in the Army, to get into World War II.
Yeah.
With his age.
Yeah.
And when he came out of the war, he came in to be a custodian.
Yeah.
He was on time, very rarely out sick. I think the only sick days I knew that he took in my 16 years there was when he had his hips replaced.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Bad internet. Yeah. So you touched on some great things, Paul, and I don't say.
We lost them again. That's the power. That's the power of live podcast. Is sometimes the internet just doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
There it is. We're back.
You're back,
and you're gone.
Yeah.
And you're back.
82-year-old Ernie with the
82 years old,
hip.
56 years of service, so something like that.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know,
again, we could do another whole podcast on this topic, but every year I make sure that on Memorial Day and Veterans Day and all those days that honor our veterans and Memorial Day, I reach out and I do an email to staff and I thank them for their continued service here, but the service that they've given to the country. And it's little things like that, as far as I'm concerned, that is overlooked by a lot of maybe our younger folks, our younger directors of facilities. And last week it was for the last 9 days here, it was 98 degrees or hotter, and it's not the Texas heat, it's the moist, nasty heat that makes you sweat at 7:30 in the morning, and you're wondering how the hell you're going to make it throughout the day. I sent popsicles to every building. And again, some folks will laugh at it and say, "Oh, geez, thanks for the." But other people are like, "Oh my gosh, they're so appreciative of those hydrating quencher popsicles that have electrolytes in them, and it's just something to look forward to." And those are the things, as director of facilities, not only the nurturing and putting people in positions to be successful, like we've done with Myrique and others. It's that continued dripping. I mean, you've got to tell someone 3 times or 4 times before they even understand what the heck it is you're asking. So it's that continual consistency of support and training that will make folks successful, because we're not here to put people in positions to be unsuccessful. And I say that over and over again, and people look at me like I got 6 heads, but those who are grasping, understanding, asking the right questions like Myrique, they're going to continue to prosper and grow. And I just, that's the way we operate here. And I'm so proud of so many staff here. Very fortunate to have the support that we have from administration. And good things are happening, and greater things are yet to come.
So to kind of wrap up, and Paul, I can give you the mic for anything that you got that you might have missed. But I think youth boroughs, based on what I've been searching here, is a New York thing. Do you see many of your peers leveraging youth boroughs the way that you are to get help like the way that you are, and potential career team members? And I guess the second part to that question is, regardless if you see that in New York, how people are doing it, what would you give for some advice to people that aren't doing anything like that, as far as a starting step of, reaching out, maybe putting up some positions or internships or, other things? Because there's not a lot of people that we're talking to that have a program like what you have.
No, we find very few that have a feeder program of any type.
Yeah. I'm only aware of a few. I can tell you my last couple districts, I did the same thing. So they're off and running, and they have a means and a method to hire youth. I would say, hey, look for any of it doesn't got to be officially called a youth bureau, but look for any youth organizations in the area that, that could partner with you or you with them. I would say, start with your business official, your superintendent, and start with your guidance counselors. Lay out the program, lay out the vision that you foresee, because I think we are neglecting and not utilizing a huge resource. Probably our best resource is our youth, our kids. We allow it for high school students. So the kids that I have range from 9th grade to 12th grade. A lot of 12th graders are usually rare because they've already picked college or they're going on to the workforce, so they've already committed to something because they're graduating. I got a couple, but mostly are 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, returning school students. And even in our monthly custodial meetings that we have, when we meet, I pull staff out of their buildings and they come to City Hall, and we meet here, get them out of their environment.
Yeah.
Peel that layer away. They sometimes will say, I've got to babysit the kids again. And it's like, listen, I want you to stop right now. And I want you to think back I want you to vision the person who you connected with as a teenager, as a young adult, in the early 20s. Who did you connect with that you can say gave you a break, maybe gave you something you didn't even deserve, which may have changed the course of your career, and maybe you wouldn't even be here today. You stop, you take the time, you invest it, and you make sure that youth understands what's expected, and you just have to give the support. It's not an option. So I think that's key for us, as I've communicated, this is not an option. So once folks know this is not an option, a lot of the garbage won't come into play in the equation. And I think that's what's made us so successful. But again, start with your guidance counselors, start with your business official and your superintendent have to be on board because we're paying these kids. That's our money, the taxpayer money. It's coming out of our budget. So we feel so strongly. I mean, these kids, if they play their cards right, they got a good chance to put definitely a few $1,000s away in the bank before they go back to school. Who ever had that opportunity? I never had that opportunity. I had to sell worms. So,
Yeah, I love the guidance counselor play. I love that because the guidance counselor has to talk to every student at least a couple times a year, and they could tell the kids that could use an opportunity and deserve an opportunity that might have been overlooked or something might have happened and could give them some confidence. I mean, that's what a lot of these kids are lacking is confidence.
Yeah, I applaud our superintendent because without even knowing it to me, we talked about this program that was started 5 years ago, and then an email blast went out, and we have a weekly e-blast that goes out to the community. And on that e-blast, I was scrolling through, reading, and all of a sudden there was a QR code to scan. If your youth has an interest in a summer job or would like to know more about a potential opportunity to work inside our schools and do light maintenance and facilities, it was right there in the e-blast that went out to the community. And it was a great resource to get the word out. So, there's another resource, and I applaud our superintendent for doing that.
That's great. That's great. Well, we got some good nuggets of knowledge here, Paul. What do you got there? Or are you frozen again?
He's frozen.
I think he's frozen.
Hold it.
He's like on dial-up.
No, I got him now.
Oh, there you are.
I got him.
There you go. We see you. You just keep moving your head. That way we know you're not frozen.
All right. Yeah, that's it.
You got anything to close it out?
Yeah. Me, I'm good. I want to, I guess the one thing I could say, if I could relate this, I just started watching a new series on ESPN last night, and Myrique, I think you're the Derek Jeter of the custodial world.
That's funny.
Drafted #1 coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And on a course to do great things. I really believe that. And I just watched episode 1 last night, so don't ruin the rest of it for me.
No, I won't.
Yeah. Being a Mets fan, I won't watch it. So you're safe.
Okay. They do talk about the Mets a little in there.
I can't believe a diehard Red Sox person's going to go that route with the Yankees.
I am a diehard Red Sox person, but I got a lot of respect for an athlete like that.
I agree, sir. I would definitely watch it.
Yeah.
No, Josh, thanks for the opportunity. Always a blessing to see you, my friend. Again, we talk about us being the old abrasive, the older guys, and I'm proud of that. I've worked hard. I'm happy to leave the legacy that I'm going to. I'm not done yet. I got 4 years left in this seat. Who knows where I'll pop up for the next 25-year career after that? We shall see. But I'm just honored. It's a ride. It's all about the relationships. And I'm just honored to meet folks like Myrique and some others and just look at them and see myself where I was in 1989, 1990, 91, and just say, man, just you don't know that you got the world in a firm grip. Focus on your family. Put your important things first, and just be transparent and be honest. Work hard, and everything will just fall into play for you. And I'm excited to see what this character does and a few others and where they land, and I'm excited for their future as well.
Awesome. Well, I hope I get to meet you next week, Myrique, and congratulations again on all fronts, personal and professional. That's great.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, Paul looks like he's frozen again, and I know what he's going to say, which is, do I have a shout out? So I'm going to play Paul's role. He's going to say, Josh, do you have a shout out? And I'm going to say, why, yes, of course I have a shout out. Every episode I like to give a shout out for the unsung heroes, which is either an individual or a team that's in the operations department of education. And this week we have one from Georgia, and the title of this article is, I Never Let It Be a Bad Day. School custodian made sure this 10th grader has a friend. Thanks to the friendship that Johnny and Lakira Isaac developed, his mom started the Not Alone initiative. Johnny Hickey was, we don't want Paul to miss this. Let's put him back and see if he's got a new internet. So, but Atlanta, Georgia, Johnny Hickey was Excited for his first day of school on Monday, the 10th grader walked into Johns Creek High with his support animal, a bearded dragon named Albert. School can be tough for Johnny. He has autism and has trouble making friends. But one new friend put a smile on his face Monday morning and made him excited to go back to class. His mom was heartbroken last year when she heard her son was sitting alone at the lunch table. She said she couldn't stop thinking of him sitting there by himself. However, one day Johnny came home and started talking about Lakira Isaac, the custodian at the school, who took it upon herself to make sure Johnny wasn't alone. Johnny and Isaac's friendship is simple. For Johnny, I love her, and I am doing a not alone handshake. The 10th grader said. Thanks to Isaac, Johnny doesn't have to eat lunch alone. At 12:30 p.m. at lunchtime, I would say hello to Miss Lakira, he said. Every single day, he would look for me in the cafeteria. So as the days go by, we built a relationship, a friendship, Isaac said. She has been a custodian at Johns Creek for 2 years and didn't know much about autism before she met Johnny. It can be tough sometimes, but I never let it be a bad day. I never let it be a bad day, she said. So this is a pretty long article. It goes on, but it says Isaac brought Johnny Oreos at lunch and got him an end-of-year present last year. She said their friendship is just as special to her as it is to him. It's just a pleasure to have a conversation with a student, Isaac said. They stayed in touch over the summer and even got together with Albert, of course. So, it could be as simple as sitting down and having lunch with a student that doesn't have anybody to sit down with. It's not saving a life. It's not putting out a fire in a burning building. It's as simple as just being a decent human being to someone that deserves it, that might not be getting it from anybody. So, look here, Isaac, thank you very much for your service and for what you do and for making sure somebody didn't eat lunch alone. So, pretty cool stuff. And Paul is frozen. He's texted me, so
I'm good now. I'm good. I can see everybody. Everybody's moving.
Hey, we got to work on you we got to work on your internet connection. That's next.
Yeah.
But that'll do it, Keith. Myrique, we'll see you next week in person. Can't wait. Yes. Excited for the tour. Yep. This is long overdue. We've been talking about this since pre-COVID. Yep. So this is a long time coming. Paul, you and I are hitting the road, getting in the war wagon, and we're going to, before we hit the bridge, we're going to hit New Rochelle. Then we're going to hit the bridge, turn left, and go see our friends down in New Jersey for a day. Nice. So we'll be on the road and mobile, and we're going to come up with some episodes and maybe some live videos from the road, try out some new stuff. But in the meantime, keep those ratings, reviews, and follows and shares and all the good stuff that you're doing to spread the good word. We keep improving our visibility with our podcast and with our videos and with our pages. So really appreciate that. We really want to bring awareness to the awesome that's going on, like what's happening in New Rochelle, Milwaukee, Albuquerque. There's a common theme here. Stop watching the news and all the garbage that goes with it and start looking around in your communities and see all the awesome that people are doing to provide safe, healthy environments, not just learning in our schools. So in the meantime, if you can be anything, be awesome. Have an awesome day.